Welcome to my presentation on the cultural aspects of learning focused on Indonesian students. What is culture? In our classrooms, we strive to create a comfortable environment where students can learn and work towards their abilities, where as a group we build trust, and most importantly, where students are recognized as individuals and we positively accept, understand, and work with various learning and cultural differences. In order for this to occur, we must understand the background and culture of all our students. Culture in the bigger scheme, according to Perigo and Boyle, is the shared beliefs, values, and rule-governed patterns of behavior, including language that define a group, which they further defined into three aspects. 1. What people know and believe. 2. What people do. 3. What people make and use. In order for EL students to be successful in the classroom, we must understand and embrace their home culture and carefully intertwine it with ours. For example, giving directions may be second nature for us in the classroom, but for many ELs, they may need additional time to interpret, understand, and act on those same directions. Many factors play a role in one's culture and cultural differences, such as home life and structure, school structures, food, religion, personal hygiene, holidays and celebrations, socioeconomic status, local languages and dialects, history, family roles, and family relationships. In many situations, these aspects of culture will come out in various ways in which the classroom, especially as students begin to work with peers. It is our role as educators to understand these various cultural components and tailor our instruction to provide scaffolding for when our culture's aspects are focused on, yet determine ways to embed, compare, or connect the EL student's culture. The Indonesian culture. While the Indonesian culture has some similarities, there are many differences that will affect students in the classroom. To begin, it is common for Indonesian students to live with additional relatives such as grandparents, cousins, or aunts and uncles. Students attend similar schooling styles as found in the U.S., like private schools and public schools. Classes in these schools can be gender specific or they can be mixed. Respect. Students are taught from an early age to show respect to elders by a kiss on the back of the hand. In a similar regard, persons of authority or persons of guardianship both are well respected by students and receive undivided attention. A teacher is often referred to as a guardian of the student while at school. It is not uncommon for students to listen and never disagree with the teacher. It is seen as a sign or way of respect. Eye contact is a cultural difference that may be apparent in your classroom. Eye contact is considered rude or disrespectful with older individuals. In the classroom, students may feel uncomfortable with constant eye contact and will often look away. Another set of cultural norms include greetings. Handshakes are common as well as a small bow of the head. It is not uncommon for Indonesians to be late or to see times or deadlines as flexible. Lastly, cultural holidays that are specific to their religion are celebrated, as well as specific Indonesian national holidays, which appear different than ours in the calendar year. The Indonesian education system varies in many ways from the education system in the United States. The Indonesian education system is the third largest education system in the Asia region and the fourth largest in the world, behind China, India, and the United States. In the last 10 years alone, government spending towards education in Indonesia has increased and was more than any other sector. As mentioned previously, Indonesian students uphold a high regard for their elders and a high level of respect. This follows suit in their education, where in the classroom, students are passive learners, and the teacher holds the role of authority. Students learn from verbal information given by teachers, are in a role where they do not challenge their teachers and receive active feedback in their learning. In the United States, we welcome discovery, we welcome group-led discussions, and have students work with peers, and we have many strong peer and group interactions, something that Indonesian students aren't always comfortable with. Most Indonesian people are bilingual, and it is not uncommon for them to speak up to 3 or 4 different languages. The Bahasa Indonesia literally means the language of the Indonesian, or just the Indonesian language. Roughly 23 million people speak this language, while another 140 million people have the Indonesian language as their second language. Students tend to learn the Indonesian language through schooling, while their first language is that of their local city or town. It is important to note that the Indonesian language is the official language of the government, yet there are many regional variations known as dialects that mostly differ in pronunciation and in some cases in vocabulary. Compared to that of English, the Indonesian language has 6 vowels, roughly 24 consonant sounds, and consonant clusters are not common. Their language uses nouns, pronouns, and verbs, but they have significantly different uses and rules than that of the English language, and they are certainly not as complex. Lastly, most Indonesian words contain 2 syllables and are formed by 25 derivational affixes. These factors are important to note, as both speaking and writing and reading comprehension may be difficult tasks due to grammar differences. So, how does that impact their learning here in the U.S.? In the 4 domains of literacy, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, EL students from Indonesia have a significant difficulty with grammar, also due to their native language dialects, and with their cultural respect that's found in the classroom. So coming to the United States, just in the classroom alone, you're going to see EL students have a difficult time working with their peers and engaging with others, as in their typical native culture, they are independent learners and they're very passive learners, as they only listen to what their teacher says and take that as pretty much what it is. They don't question anything that the teacher says. Some of the implications for reading and vocabulary. Vocabulary is one area for ELL students that needs direct teaching and instruction. In my own practice, focusing on academic and content vocabulary throughout a week or unit is not helping students extend and internalize their vocabulary. Although I tend to pick vocabulary that has multiple meanings or that's used in their content area at the time, it is not enough for them. They need a way to apply it and have a way to kind of look back at it. Lee, Berger, Allen, Plummer, and Rosenberg recommend that while directly teaching vocabulary is crucial for ELL students, their learning of new vocabulary needs to be personalized. They recommend having students create vocabulary dictionaries, and even more specifically bilingual dictionaries, which can help them connect both languages, draw images, look at the actual grammar pieces of the words, and kind of contain that all in a notebook for them to refer back to. While my practice kind of works for me now, it's one of those things that now knowing how much farther I can extend it would truly help my students in the long run and make them better learners in the classroom. The next area is communication for speaking and listening. According to Putri, communication is the use of language to talk, convey messages, and derive meaning. Putri comments that difficulties in communication occur when the encoded message differs from the decoded message. For ELL students, this occurs often as vocabulary and grammar differences impact the generation of spoken language and the spoken language being interpreted. In my previous classroom, I often added wait time for my ELL students to process directions or questions. While wait time is crucial for these students to interpret the various spoken words, repeating my question or direction and incorporating props or hand gestures would have proven to be more beneficial. Putri describes an overarching communication strategy known as achievement or compensatory strategies. During dialogue with students, Putri's strategies incorporate using alternate terms or lexical items to describe or provide an object or an action to help students kind of come up with those terms that they may be stuck with or tongue-tied with. Writing is certainly not my forte, yet using the Writer's Workshop model, I have not only begun to enjoy writing, but my students do as well. Wiley and McKernan stress that ELL students benefit most from structure, especially when it comes to writing. Brainstorming templates allow ELLs to get thoughts down on paper or electronic webs, and it helps take away the difficulty of determining the language necessary for beginning writing. Depending on the level of the students, sentence frames help students structure their sentences and help build in proper grammar and structure. During the workshop model, ELLs receive multiple supports, whether it be through whole group and small group rotations, individual teacher conferences, or through peer conferences where work is shared. As I reflect on my current practices, it is evident that there are many next steps that I can take with some of my strategies to truly support English language learners, whether it be incorporating technology organization tools or personalizing learning. Most importantly, though, I think about how important it is for my Indonesian students to learn that our classroom is a learning environment, and as a teacher, I am learning too. These students may not be used to engaging in discussions or asking the teacher questions, but working through some of the previously mentioned communication strategies can help support that. Overall, I want to be cautious about trying too many strategies so as not to overwhelm my students, yet I want to focus on effective communication because that can then help our students be true active members of our society. Thank you for viewing my presentation.